Congratulations, Harvard Business School class of 2026. What an incredible feeling to be here. Governor Romney, it's an honor to be your opener. You've shown us how we can combine success in the private sector with exceptional leadership and courage in public service. From founding Bain Capital to running for president and signing Massachusetts' near universal healthcare law. You know, Governor, my HBS healthcare expires on July 31st. Is there anything you can do to help me out? On a day like today, my mind goes to when we first arrived at HBS. Like many of us, I got to campus carrying my own experience of what it meant to encounter different perspectives. I grew up in France, in a house where difference was not theoretical. My mother spent her childhood in the French countryside, the youngest of 10 children in a Catholic family that ran a dairy farm. My father grew up on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, raised by parents who believed in public service and in keeping Jewish life and memory alive after World War II. They are two very different people who built a life together filled with a depth and breadth of viewpoints. And somewhere between their two ways of seeing, they showed me that the people who sharpen us most are the ones who come from different backgrounds. This is exactly what we saw in action over the last 2 years here at HBS. We walked into this place as strangers, unsure of what was to come. We showed up from 60-something countries, from countless backgrounds, carrying opposing ideas about how the world works, and we were told, sit together, debate, learn from one another. We did this in section, in the way people helped each other learn, with expertise when they had it and courage when they did not. We did this in My Takes, where classmates shared personal stories that would not otherwise have entered case discussions. We did it at the HBS show and ECTA, where friends took the Klarman stage and revealed talents we never knew they had. And we chose to learn from one another in harder moments too. In conversations about politics, about identity, about things that divide people everywhere else. When the faculty canceled the case on Lebanon in our Biggie class, Lebanese and Jewish students came together and formed their own discussion groups to build bridges rather than walls between us. This was just one of many examples. This was just one of many examples of the HBS community practicing what the rest of the world has mostly given up on, holding a strong opinion while remaining genuinely open to changing our minds, staying in the room when it would have been easier to leave or never even walk into it, and accepting people who see the world differently, challenging them and letting them push us into deeper waters. There was one person in particular who embodied that spirit for me. Second semester of RC year, I was assigned a seatmate. Her name was Zoe. Zoe and I disagreed on a lot. On the long-term value of Professor Trevor Fetter's leadership and corporate accountability frameworks, on the viability of French socialism, and the moral obligation of punctuality. She pushed back on me constantly, and I pushed back on her. But she made me rethink things that I thought I was sure about. During a tense conversation on the war in the Middle East, a classmate shared something that hit a nerve for me. I felt hurt, I felt frustrated, and I armed myself for argument. But Zoe helped me hear what was underneath it. Not a position to fight, but a person reaching past their own comfort to say something vulnerable. It is so easy in this environment to treat every charged moment as a debate to win, she said, but it could be an act of courage to simply witness. I heard her, and I took it in. That is what sitting next to someone different can do. Not someone you choose, someone a random seating chart chose for you. Zoe passed away last September. She was 29 years old. In the weeks that followed, our section gathered to remember her empathy and optimism, the example she set in the face of adversity. The word example really matters here. Character is not private. The way we meet uncertainty can give others a clearer standard for how to meet their own. And over these last 2 years, HBS surrounded us with classmates who raised that standard for us. We were changed for the better by people we once barely knew because the school manufactured our proximity to the unexpected. It forced the encounters, and it trusted that the friction would produce something that comfort never could. But I also know how easy it would be to let the story end there, to treat this experience as the accomplishment in self instead of what it asks of us next. HBS tells us again and again that its mission is to educate leaders who make a difference in the world. We must leave here not only more capable, but more responsible. And that responsibility sits inside a larger Harvard University tradition, one that has never only stood for intelligence, ambition, or success, it has stood for example at its highest cost. Other than the military service academies, no institution of higher education has lost more graduates in service to this country than Harvard University. We now inherit a tradition shaped by alumni who are willing to sacrifice for ideas greater than personal success. Most of us will never be asked to give what they gave, but the principle underneath it remains the same, that education, this education, carries an obligation to something beyond ourselves. And that idea is at the center of the American tradition at its best. The belief that opportunity is not just personal fortune, but a responsibility to contribute, to stand up for what we believe in, to attempt things that matter even at the risk of failure. Few places have shaped that ideal more profoundly than Harvard. And at a moment when this university is caught in the crosshairs of those who have forgotten what it actually stands for, I'm proud to be part of that tradition, I'm proud to be part of this class, and I'm proud to soon be a Harvard graduate. But pride in this place only means something if it changes how we live. The HBS name is not a substitute for humility, curiosity, or the willingness to keep listening. Those virtues are by no means given to us. They are habits we learn here watching classmates who embody what dedication and impact look like. Classmates like Kayla Walsh, who flew Black Hawks for the Army, commanded 260 soldiers, then founded Elevare Health to address the painful lack of care infrastructure for maternal health. Classmates like Brew Demilou, who saw food insecurity undermining dignity in his home country of Ethiopia and founded Revolve to help farmers access affordable feed and fertilizer. These classmates, like so many others, made responsibility feel less abstract. They showed us that it starts in the way we choose to live, whether we take the obvious path or the harder one, whether we stay open to people who see the world differently, and whether we build from those differences rather than smoothing them over. And long before HBS, the people who raised us, like my parents, were already teaching us what that looked like. A young girl on a French dairy farm who believed she could and made herself into an award-winning costume designer. A kid from New York who left everything familiar to build a life across the world with the woman he loved. My parents did not choose the obvious path. They chose the one that reflected how they saw the world they wanted, even when it went against the grain. So as we close this chapter of our lives, we have to say it clearly. Thank you. To all our families, loved ones, and friends here with us, you shaped us long before this place had the chance. So join me in giving them a big round of applause. To my parents, Maman, Dad, and my sisters, Rose and Lily, everything I am started with you, and I would not be here today without your unwavering support. To our partners, especially my partner, Julia Sokoloff, MBA class of 2025, who loved me through the trips, the cases, and every night I hosted a party and I called it networking. I love you. Thank you for being here. To Section I could not have gotten luckier. Some incredible friendships and relationships came out of this group of 99 students. And I believe we hold the title for most couples in a single section. I mean, come on, how's that for a network? To my founder launch classmates, few things have been more inspiring than watching each other create something from nothing. Then Professor Reza Sachu brought us the famous influencer Alex Earl, and I knew this was why some of us picked HBS over Stanford. To Dean Datar, to the faculty members, to the staff, the scribes, the grounds crew who tirelessly made sure this campus was not only beautiful on sunny days, but safe during some of the worst weather we had seen. Thank you for showing us what dedication really looks like. This dedication was beautifully exemplified by Professor Jeff Busgang. On the eve of a once-in-a-decade blizzard, he slept on campus because the university promised him classes would be in session. But you guessed it, they were not. Now, looking forward, no one will manufacture the collisions for us anymore. No one will assign the seatmate. No one will build this section. Preserving the best of this experience is on us. Life is uncertain. We're entering one of the hardest job markets in recent history during the greatest technological revolution of our time in a world plagued by division, conflict, and reasons to be cynical. But remember, as we face the world, how lucky are we to have the people sitting behind us, the friends sitting beside us, and the years ahead of us. We were not chosen for certainty. We were chosen because this institution believed that we could walk into uncertainty and build something from it. That we would not turn our backs and retreat into echo chambers like so many are doing today. And that we had the potential to be united by something greater than our differences. So in those moments of uncertainty, we will be there for each other. We will stay in the room. We will hold our convictions fiercely and our certainties loosely. We will lead by example. And when it matters, we will show up. Harvard Business School, class of 2026, we will always show up. That is what a Harvard education is, and it belongs to all of us now. So off we go. Let one thing lead to another. Congratulations, graduates.